Kirk Cousins, as mentioned at the top of the show, spoke with reporters yesterday. He had been on a podcast, I think Bussin' with the Boys more recently, but he needed and he was required at some point in the offseason program to stand there in front of a microphone and take questions. The first we'd heard from him since the stunning news, the biggest story of the draft, the Falcons using the 8th overall pick, not on someone who's actually going to make the team better this year or next year or maybe the year after, but probably not with Kirk Cousins playing quarterback. It's going to be somebody who's sitting on the bench behind him. Here is Kirk Cousins from yesterday on how he learned that his team would be using that top 10 selection on a quarterback.
Yeah, no. I was at the team event at the stadium, was just driving back, and they called me and just said, hey, we're gonna take a quarterback here at the pick. And I said, okay. Yeah, I think it's similar to the call that Mark D'Antonio made to me in 2000. That would have been 2007. And he said, hey, we're going to offer another quarterback. I know you've signed Nick Foles. You guys are going to have to compete. And it's like, okay, let's just take the next step. And then I was drafted right with Robert Griffin. And it's, hey, you're going there with another quarterback in the same class. Okay. So this is more the norm than the exception. And I think the response is that this is the exception when really, if you know my story, this is more the norm of the journey, and it's more of let's just start working and start building together.
We come up with certain things to cope with whatever hand we've been dealt. One of the brilliant aspects of The Office, one of my favorite shows of all time, would be when some bad news had happened and they do the testimonials or the confessionals or whatever it is when they're sitting in the conference room and they just talk to the camera. They do a great job of just adjusting to whatever crap might have landed. Oh, we're going to lay off everybody and shut down the office? Great. I'll take my severance package and retire early. Oh, we're still going to open up? Okay, fine. I'll show up for work every day. I mean, you deal with whatever you're given because you got no choice. And that's kind of what he's saying. I don't think he expected this one. That's the difference. You go to a college program, you expect they're going to have other quarterbacks on the depth chart. When a team uses the 2nd overall pick in the draft on a quarterback, yeah, you don't expect them to draft you, but it's not like you were the guy. I think the guy who got picked is more likely to say, what's going on here? I was the 2nd overall pick in the draft. What are they doing drafting another quarterback round 4 the same year? Right. Something's weird about this.
Right.
This is Kirk Cousins going to Atlanta to put the icing on the cake of his career and try to win a Super Bowl. And we got the 8th pick in the draft to augment the roster with some badass Byron Murphy, Dallas Turner, somebody who's going to pump up the defense and help us win games, big games, not September, October games, January, February games. Oh, and you're using that pick on my successor. I haven't even taken a snap. And you're using that pick on the guy that's going to replace me eventually. It's like when people get a dog as the dog they have is getting a little older because that dog's going to die. So we need another dog. They've already got the second dog before they've even, enjoyed the first one. So that's the difference here. And he's not going to say that. That's the thing. He's not going to say what he's really thinking. That's counterproductive. Just like Michael Penix Jr. when he finally spoke to reporters in that, off-season workout setting. I feel bad because you can't bare your soul because it's going to create a lot of problems. I'd love to hear Kirk Cousins truly bare his soul, and maybe it'll happen, after his career ends. He'll do some retrospective interview or write a book or something. I don't know. But there's no way he's happy about it. There's no way he's happy about this.
No, there's not. I mean, not. But I think he's so strong-minded, right? He's got the gift of compartmentalization, right, that so many good quarterbacks have, right? I've heard ex-teammates of Brady talking about that might be his greatest strength, right? I think a lot of great quarterbacks have that, right? I grew up with one. I mean, my dad, he could be like that. I've told you before, he'll be sitting there eating a cookie, and he'll tell everybody in the house and go, I haven't eaten a cookie in 3 years. And we're going, wait, you're eating one right now. And this is one of these health ones, not a real cookie, right? He can put it there, right? And that's what a lot of great athletes can do to a degree. There's no doubt about it. And I think Kirk Cousins is a master in that department. And that's why he's always been able to block out noise, the haters, the prime time. Wait, you're asking for too much money and all of that, certainly. But yes, is it died down in his soul a little bit as far as angering him and disappointing him, like you were saying? Yeah, I'm sure it has, but it's still there. And listen, bringing in competition's the norm. Yeah, that's the norm. No, but not in this case. You're the exception in this case. This is not. When you sign $180 million, the norm is we don't draft a quarterback in the top 10. You become an exception in a different category here. That's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to be at a part in your career where this is I've made my way. I got enough pelts on the horse. I'm the man here, and we shouldn't make that type of move. And that's the commitment you made to me. That's what you kind of made me feel. And now you've taken that away from me to a degree. And, yeah, it's got to bother him. But I do think if there's a guy that can overcome it and block it out, I think Kirk Cousins is as good as it gets in that department.
Yeah, and you just have to do it. You have to do it. And a lot of times it happens as a result of life unfolding.
Yeah,
this is the result of a deliberate decision that conflicts with, it has to conflict with the vibe he got. Even if they didn't overtly lie to him and say, we're using the 8th overall pick on somebody that's going to come in and make the defense better. That's what we're going to do. Or, don't worry, we're not going to draft another quarterback. I mean, we weren't going to do something crazy with that pick, like take another quarterback, ha, ha, ha. The vibe had to be, we're going to try to win. It's win,
yes,
it's win,
right.
it's win.
All he talked about when he first got signed. Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl.
Against it. That's the reality. Yeah. It's not just, they brought in another quarterback. It's they brought in a quarterback with that very valuable asset that could have been used to help me. I mean, it's the stuff that Aaron Rodgers justifiably was upset about in Green Bay.
Yeah.
You trade up in round 1, not to get me more help offensively, but to get the guy who's going to be behind me and pushing me out at some point. This is the sign that you want me out at some point. They hung that sign in Atlanta before Cousins even put on a helmet. That's what's amazing about it.
It is amazing. Of course, like we've talked about, all the details of it are pretty amazing. And again, as we go through this, all signs point towards they didn't really realize. They thought they were going to get Jaden Daniels before the year. That was their guy. They wanted Jaden Daniels. It got to the end of the year, and they realized, wait, Jaden Daniels is going to go too high in the draft, or we're going to have to make a move to get him. They didn't do that. It seems like they realized that around the combine that, okay, Jaden Daniels, everybody's hot on him. They moved to Kirk Cousins, right? By all due accounts, right, it looks like, as we stand here now, that they didn't realize how good Michael Penix Jr. was till a few weeks after that. And that's when they recalibrated. And then also within that, where I think if you talk about football, life in the NFL, the way things are going to go down, the way you treat your employers, right, the way you get into all those conversations, I'm sure Kirk Cousins can't be thrilled with the fact that, something you've alluded to here already, that nobody's really talked to him about this until right when they were going to make the pick too, right? Usually you get a little bit more of a warning, like he even talked about with D'Antoni in Michigan State, a little bit of a warning, a heads up, maybe leading up to the draft, a few days before. Hey, just want to put this on the radar. We are thinking about this. This could happen. Right? And I think probably that would be where Kirk Cousins feels misled and lied to and, a little, hard feelings that way as well. And that's where they got to be delicate with him and make sure they make him feel like he's wanted, loved, and he's their guy. Certainly. He can't feel good about that part of the relationship right now.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.